If you're a Terry main, you're gonna definitely want to check out this video because a Super Grandmaster Terry dropped a ton of information on the character. So the beautiful thing about Terry is not only is he such a fun character to use, there's some amazing players that use him. You got Riddles, you got JobBM, and you got my personal favorite, Kintyo. But when it comes to the one Terry that develops and shares the most tech, you gotta give it to Kintyo. And honestly, he blessed us with some of his latest videos. So over the last week or so, Kintyo has posted so much content in Terry, and it's incredible. It goes anywhere from beginner level all the way to advanced Terry players. So there's something for everybody. The only catch is that the videos are all in Japanese. So I had to do a lot of YouTube translate and speaking to some of my friends that are fluent in Japanese to help piece together everything. But I have to say, if you do like this content, I only have one request on this video. Please go over to Kintyo's page, give him a like, give him a follow, leave some comments, let him know Sing sent you, whatever. Just let him know that we appreciate what he's done, because it's not every day you have a Super Grandmaster player dropping all this knowledge for a character. You know, a lot of people like to keep that stuff close to the chest, but not Kintyo. So go over, I'll make sure to leave everything in the description box below where you can follow his page. But let's get into the first tip that he recommends. Alright, so the first thing Kintyo mentions is the power of Terry stand jab. And I kind of see this as well because a lot of players, we just like to fish with our medium punches, you know, our roundhouse kicks, things like this. But not enough people are just pestering with Terry's jab. And the reason this is good is not only does this interrupt a lot of attacks, but if you do get a counter hit off, you can combo the crouch medium punch from like quite far away, like further than you think. And the beauty of that is, even at max distance, you'll still be able to get the medium power charge like that, which can lead into safe jumps. It'll also lead into Buster Wolf. It'll lead into, you know, his level 2. Basically, all of his supers will lead into that. But also you can do weird combos like the light version of the charge and then still get the combo off. So he thinks that pestering with jabs and drive rush jab should be a huge part of Terry players' games, but he doesn't see a lot of players using it because this can lead into some crazy situations. And one of those crazy situations is actually utilizing the OD power charge. And honestly, show of hands, how many of us Terrys use this move often? I don't think it's many of us, myself included. But because medium punch will combo into it, if you get a counter hit jab and then a medium punch follow up, that means you can go into this OD charge. And you're gonna wonder why that's valuable, what follow-ups can I have? And I'm gonna show you why Kintyo thinks that this is an extremely important tool that not enough Terrys are using. So the first combo he highlights that he likes to do is the OD charge into round wave burning knuckle. As you can see, I'm already building up my drive bar back, which shows that this is a resource friendly combo. But for 2200 damage and you move your opponent half screen, it's a pretty good tool to keep in your back pocket. I think that's why he likes it a lot. So the real reason he likes this setup is that it adds to Terry's mental stack. For example, you can get a shimmy out of this. If I go into that same basic route that I showed you, into the medium burning knuckle, drive dash forward and hold back, you get a free shimmy. And anytime you can add a shimmy to your arsenal, it adds a lot. The other thing is, you can just drive rush after and get a media attack that will blow up a lot of the options that your opponent has. So it gives Terry not only great corner carry, it's resource friendly, but you're right in your opponent's face and you got them in a real bad 50-50. The other reason he loves this setup is that if you have bar available, you have a super bar, you can go into the level 1 and this does 2650. You're gonna ask, why is that important? I'm gonna tell you right now. It's important because in this game, when your opponent has yellow health, it means they're at 25% of the health bar or less. So if they're a normal health character like Ryu, that means he has 2500 hit points or less anytime you see him with the yellow health bar. Which means if you go into this combo, it will always kill. So that's something you got to keep in your mind, to know that even if you have only a slither of drive bar available, you're still able to get the power charge off. And that's why this is such a powerful tool, is because you're guaranteed the kill if you get that counter hit jab off or that drive rush jab, even with a little bit of drive bar left. Unfortunately, the only character it doesn't work on is Zangief because he's got way more health than everybody else. It just leaves them with a pixel of health left. Alright, so the next example shows why Kintyo's the GOAT, but you know, we've all been in this situation. We're fishing with our opponents, they whiff a normal, we hit them with a counter hit and go into the Powerdunk variation. Now there's nothing wrong with this, it does a lot of damage, good corner carry, and you get some Oki out of it. But Kintyo says if your opponent is low on drive bar, and he hasn't seen a lot of players do this, instead of going for that variation, go into a stand medium punch comboed into the drive impact. Not only does this combo, it annihilates your opponent's drive bar, and if it burns them out, that might be more added value than actually going for that damage. So put this in your arsenal, mix it up with going with the power dunk variation and the burnout variation, and I promise you, you're going to be a lot more scary as Terry. This is why Kintyo is the GOAT. So the next thing you mentioned that I think will help a lot of people win more games is, instead of going for the safe bread and butter, combo like this, add the power wave version like this. It costs 1 bar, but not only does it do more damage, you're going to be building that bar back, but it adds to Terry's Oki game like crazy. If you set your opponent to, do grab on wake up, this variation gives Terry access to another shimmy. And as we said earlier, shimmies are extremely important in this game. The more you have, the more games you're going to win. It's really that simple. But the other thing it does is it also blows up attacks because it hits so meaty. So if you have an opponent that likes to mash jabs or things like that on wake up, and you get the read on them, after dash forward, you're going to beat them as well. So go for this route. As you can see, I'm already building my drive bar back pretty quick in that scenario. And most of the time, if you have the resources available, it's only 1 bar, go for that variation. And the next tip he gives, I do think it's again going to help a lot of players improve. But essentially, he just wants players to master 2 of Terry's best meaty options when your opponent wakes up. So the first one is Drive Rush Fierce Punch, and then the second one is Drive Rush Jab. And here's why both are important. For Fierce Punch, when your opponent blocks a Drive Rush Fierce Punch on wake up, you're +5 in their face, which is insane. That means there are 3 things you should look out for. The first is you can go for a walk up grab, so you gotta just hold forward a bit and go for the grab. This is gonna catch tons of players, I promise you. I do this all the time. The second thing you can do in this situation is just hit the Fierce Punch again. This annihilates your drive bar. It takes a full bar of drive bar away from your opponent, which is great. And again, I know I mentioned shimmies a ton in this video, but unfortunately they're very important in this game. After this setup, if you walk back slightly, you'll actually set your opponent up for a shimmy again. This mental stack adding is incredibly important for characters, especially Terry. The reason Drive Rush Jab is important is, 1, if you get the hit off, you're +8, which means, pick the combo that you want to go. But the real reason you want to do it is mostly to bait your opponent. So if you have an opponent that loves to, let's just say, abuse drive reversal on wake up jab is going to blow it up easily. But obviously a character like Ken is not going to be doing drive reversal as much because he has an OD Shoryuken. But the beautiful part is they can still bait out OD Shoryukens if you cancel the animation early. So right out of your drive rush, don't do it meaty, just do a jab, and you're going to be blocking the opponent and getting some big damage off of them. And of course, this applies to supers and level 3s as well. Just don't do it super meaty, because then you will get clipped. So the next tip is all about how to improve your throw offense. So the one thing we all hate in this game are throw loops. We've all been a part of it. But one of the few defenses that you have against throw loops is certain characters with their backdashes. If you whiff a throw and they backdash, you're going to see that I'm going to be -4, which means if my opponent has a 4-frame jab, which Ed does in this case, he'll be able to hit me with a decent punish and get out of the corner. So the first example is if your opponent blocks your Drive Rush Fierce Punch, it could be meaty or it could just be done raw, and they backdash right away. If you mash grab, you're only going to be -3 to -2 in this situation, which means your opponent will not be able to punish you on backdash. So this is actually safe to backdash grab. You got to keep this in mind because it's still going to be a situation where you keep your opponent locked down and they can't punish you. So this also applies to Terry's corner setup. So oftentimes you'll see combos end with a light punch DP into this frame kill with a stand medium kick. Oftentimes after that, Terry's will either shimmy backwards, they'll hit you with a meaty attack, or they'll go for another grab. But if you're quick, you can actually make this a safe grab attempt as well. So you'll go for that combo. The one thing you have to remember here is you have to hit the DP fast and then quickly go for the grab. So as you can see at the bottom, my opponent's only +3 and that can go as low as +2, which means even though it's their turn, I'm completely safe for a punish. So this is something that's really going to add to the mental stack for your opponent, and they're going to start scratching their head to figure out why they're not being able to punish you with a backdash on a throw attempt. So the next situation is if you ever get to your opponent in the corner and then you go for the power dunk variation. If you want to go for a shimmy in this situation and you dash forward and walk backwards, you're gonna get thrown by your opponent like you see on the screen right now. But if you want to get the shimmy off, you have to quickly mash backdash after your forward dash. So something like that. And the way that you can actually combo after this is by doing a medium punch, stand medium punch into any finisher that you want. The next thing you can do in this situation is to quickly dash forward and jump up. And if you time it at the very first frame, you're going to be able to get that punish counter on your landing. And of course, this will still apply to your combos that go into the power dunk variation from standard combos like this as well. So it is definitely a very good tool to have in your back pocket. Alright, so the next part is all about some of the dirty tricks he found in the corner. So one of the standard routes that Terry can go in his corner combo is going into this variation. So from there, what you're going to want to do is after this, you want to go into the round wave and then do a sweep. You're going to ask yourself, why am I doing this sweep? I'm sacrificing some damage. The reason is you're trying to be a sneaky snake. Because after that variation, if you do a DI, your opponent might get hit by the dirty DI like that. If you mash your DI, you're in the perfect time to actually hit them on the very last frame back. So I think this is the first dirty DI that someone found with Terry, but it's definitely good to know. The other thing it does is if your opponent likes to parry drive rush on wake up, this will actually blow through that because you'll recover in time to get the grab. This will lose to wake up grab, but you know what? You need some tricks up your sleeve like this just to show everyone what a scumbag you are from time to time. Now the next variation is instead of ending with a DI, what you're gonna want to do is go to that same route that you see over here, but then end in a round wave. As you can see, it beats the parry wake up option, which means you get a free throw out of it, and if they're to DI, that move is DI safe and you can hit them with a DI right back. And then the last corner trick he has is also dirty because it makes people think that you're super unsafe, but you're actually very safe. Pause the video, slow it down if you have to see this combo, but essentially he goes into this route, which ends in a whiffed light DP, and your opponent's probably going to think that they're so positive here, but guess what? You're the one that's actually +4. So if they try mashing buttons, they're eating a massive medium punch starting combo, fierce punch starting combo, all because it looks like you messed up your combo. But guess what? You're a sneaky little bastard, and it's your turn. So go for it, and this is another reason that Kintyo is the GOAT. And that's the video. I hope you found it helpful. We're eating good as Terry players. We got so many great players that play him, and we also got super grandmasters that are making us the best we can be. Peace out, everybody. Catch you on the next one.